we had good relationships with publishers for the most part. Occasionally we'd write a bad review and we'd get the inevitable phone call saying, what went wrong with the game? Why didn't you like it? But for the most part, they were fairly hands-off. US Gold was probably the most hands-on sort of, they pulled ads from the magazine a few times for us giving games bad reviews, particularly sort of the Tier Tex arcade conversions of the late 90s that were really shoddy and badly put together. We'd absolutely roast those and say they were crap. And, we'd get the inevitable phone call from US Gold saying, that's it, we're pulling ads from your magazine, for the foreseeable future. But occasionally we'd negotiate exclusives. I remember us negotiating an exclusive of Ghostbusters by Activision, and they gave us the game, and lo and behold, when the magazine came out, they'd also given the game to Commodore user. When we sort of used to do research on readers, it would only take them to buy 2 games on a review based on that you'd done, and that they didn't like those. They didn't agree with the review. If we said a game was good and the reader bought a game, the second time that happened, they would stop reading the magazine. So we kind of realized very early on that we had to try and get our reviews on target. People would always disagree with our reviews. There were always people that sort of wouldn't like a particular game or whatever, but they would kind of come back to the magazine, but they wouldn't be as trusting on the reviews as they were before, because games were quite, £10 for a game, particularly for a Commodore game, was a lot of pocket money for a kid. So having that trust with the magazine was very important, and for the magazine to have the reader's trust was also, very important. And so reviews, really, we had to be very careful with what we said with our reviews.